Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cannonball Diva Chronicles, where uplifting the downtrodden is our focus. I'm back like I never left, and I'd like to discuss today the story of an iconic young musician in Nigeria who recently lost his life due to some perceived or inferred abuse from his producer, Naira Marley. Imole, who was one of the uprising stars of Nigerian music Afrobeats, recently lost his life after many attempts to attract the attention of the police and other officials to the bad treatment he was receiving from his producers at that time, who he was trying to leave to stand on his own 2 feet as his own producer and writer of his lyrics. The reason I'm deciding to speak about this young, talented, and most unfortunately newly deceased young man is because of the downtrodden effect of my own belief that he was maltreated. And as I mentioned initially in the past, this channel is to discuss and to bring to light anyone who I believe in the limelight, in their personal lives, in their own personal lives, are being maltreated or perceived to be downtrodden in any way. This young man shows us how wicked the heart of man can be. Even the Bible tells us that the heart of man is exceedingly wicked. We thank God that man is not God, because if man were God, the kinds of things and the kinds of behavior we would believe to exist in this world would be so detrimental to everybody's health and well-being. The fact that this person, who considers himself to be a controller of Imole's destiny, Mohbad's destiny, and decided to do so many things against him even while he was alive, and having him cry out on so many occasions to be saved. At some point, he even cried out to the police to save his life, all to no effect. The Nigerian police, I believe, have a very big part to play in protecting human life, but many times they decide to do what they feel is best at that time, and sometimes it's all underlined or underlaid with corruption. This recent story is still under investigation, but what we're seeing in society today, in Nigerian society especially, is that this young man, even in death, carries a lot of power. His spirit is really strong, because even though he's dead, you see many people, international bodies, stars, and recently, just about 24 hours ago, there was a peaceful demonstration and candlelight demonstration and gathering of many people in Lagos around the tollgate area. And the two stars that I believe attended were Davido and Zlatan. I didn't really know this musician while he was alive, but I've heard one of his music. I think the KPK one was the one that I would hear. Even in international stores or malls, while walking through them, you sometimes hear the music. I never put a face to this song, but once I noticed how this story was going like wildfire in the social media, and I started to do my own research and realized that he was the one that sang this song. And being that he's a young man with a young family and a young son that's not even up to 10 or 12 months yet, it's so devastating to see how talented this young man was. And you can even almost imagine the threat he posed to his own producers because of his talent. You know, you can't hide a candlelight by covering it up or in a bushel, because this man's star quality shines as brightly as ever. And I'm sure that his producers, no matter what they say, were either jealous or felt threatened that he was leaving them for someone else or leaving them to stand on his own 2 feet. Because if they had left him to really explore his talents and to have a chance to stand on his own 2 feet with all of the fan admirers and people that really loved his music and his style, his natural style, a creative style, he would have gone way far above and beyond what his own producers ever would ever imagine themselves to reach. So I believe that some of this was just what they would call in Nigeria bad belly, that he was leaving them, and they decided to do what they felt was right to them at that point. I'm sure nobody would have desired that he would die. I would like to hope that that wasn't the case. But, when they continued to abuse him, they cut off all his means of survival. They spread so many bad rumors about him. One of which was that he had a mental disorder, to other producers so that they wouldn't take him on. And he started to suffer financially because of this. Doesn't this remind you of some toxic traits you see in some relationships? When they spread lies about you, when they spread malicious lies. I've talked about this in one of my videos. Just to get other people to believe untruths about you so that they would stop the channel of help that you as a person would get from others. This is exactly what happened in Imole's case. His producers spread so many lies about his character, his mental health. They went as far as abducting and beating him up many times. And at which point, like I mentioned earlier, Mohbad had cried out to the police, all to no avail. When we know as human beings that others are being maltreated and stand by and do nothing, we are culpable as well as the people who are the perpetrators or who are the attackers of innocent bystanders or innocent people. There's not so much we can do, so not to be too harsh on us as people, but speaking out is one way of addressing issues that are beyond our own control. Sometimes it takes the powerful and those in a position of influence to actually do something to change the status quo. Now in death, as the next video will show, many people gathered and I continue to gather. Even in New York, I believe, Times Square, there was a big video of him being projected for about 2 or 3 hours of just him. And this is someone who nobody knew a few years ago. He started as a lowly carpenter and rose to fame because of his talents and because of his fear of God. Because I watched a video of him coming to do a Thanksgiving of what God had done for him in church. So I believe he was a Christian as well. Very quiet, soft-spoken, unassuming, and most importantly, very humble with all of his talents. Very humble young man who was snuffed out before his time. Please watch the next video just to see the gathering of this young talented fellow, the kind of power that he still wields in the music world, in Nigeria especially, is showcased by the gathering that was attended by many, many creative artists as well as stars.
Before we go with the candle procession, where is the ambulance? Doctor, please come here right now. Okay, see, ambulance, one person on faint for you. Ambulance, please come on, please. Right now, right now, right now, right now. We are at the stage. I want him to turn this light off. Turn this light off. Turn the lights off. Lights off. Light up with somebody now. Light up, light up. Ladies and gentlemen, lights off, lights off, lights.
Suffice to say that this is a very heartbreaking and sad occurrence in recent times in Nigeria, in the music world and the entertainment industry in Nigeria. Not just Nigeria, but in many different countries in West Africa and Africa in general, as well as in the international scene. You know that many people knew about him, and knew about his music. And like I said, he was a rising star that was snuffed out much sooner than his star, or much sooner than his destiny would have projected. We need, as people, to protect ourselves from wicked and jealous and envious people who appear to be our friends and loved ones, but who behind us would quickly stick a knife in our back without a second thought. I hope that y'all are doing good and stay well, stay safe. Thank you for tuning to Cannonball Diva Chronicles, and have a blessed day.
One life and I'll leave it well, cause my no one leave it treatment. That is my confidence, every man is a walking dead. Love me while I'm still here, cause everyone is a resident. That is my confidence, every man is a walking dead. But when I'm there no more, people will love me more. Talk about the things I've done, discuss my right and wrongs. While I'm laying dead on floor, when I can't talk no more. If I go live forever, she go lose no more. Roki mama mi ye, ma tete wale o, ayo tete wale.